Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 186. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year in a non-leap year, this is for July 5th, or in a leap year for July 4th. The Old Testament reading is from 2 Kings chapter 10 and 2 Kings chapter 11. 2 Kings chapter 10. Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote letters, and he sent them to Samaria to the officials of Jezreel, to the elders and to the guardians of Ahab, saying, "Now when this letter comes to you, and your master's sons are with you, the chariots are with you, the horses, a fortified city, and weapons, then you must select the best and most suitable from the sons of your master, and you must place him on the throne of his father, and they must fight for the house of your masters." But they were very afraid, and they said, "Look, 2 kings could not stand before him. How can we stand?" So whoever was over the house, and whoever was over the city, and the elders and the guardians sent to Jehu, saying, "We are your servants. All that you say to us we shall do. We shall not make anyone a king. Do what is good in your eyes." Then he wrote to them a second letter, saying, "If you are for me, and you are listening to my voice, take the heads of the men of the sons of your master and come to me at this time tomorrow at Jezreel." Now the sons of the king, 70 men, were with the leaders of the city who were raising them. When the letter came to them, they took the sons of the king, and they killed 70 men. Then they put their heads in baskets and sent them to him at Jezreel. Then the messenger came and told him, saying, "They have brought the heads of the king's sons." And he said, "Put them in 2 piles at the entrance of the gate until morning." It happened in the morning that he went out, stood, and said to all the people, "You are righteous. Look, I conspired against my master and killed him. But who killed all of these? Know then that the word of Yahweh will not fail, which Yahweh spoke concerning the house of Ahab. Yahweh has done what he spoke by the hand of his servant Elijah." Then Jehu killed all of the remainder of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, all of his leaders, his close friends, and his priests, until there was no survivor left for him. Then he arose and went and came to Samaria. On the way he was at Beth Eked of the shepherds, and Jehu met the brothers of Ahaziah king of Judah. He asked, "Who are you?" They said, "We are the brothers of Ahaziah. We came down for the peace of the king's children and the children of the queen." Then he said, "Seize them alive." So they seized them alive, but then slaughtered them at the cistern of Beth Eked, 42 men. He did not allow any of them to survive. Next he went from there and found Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, to meet him. He greeted him and asked him, "Is your heart right with me as my heart is with you?" Then Jehonadab said, "Yes, it is. Give your hand." And he gave his hand and took him up to him on the chariot. Then he said, "Come with me. Look at my zeal for Yahweh." So he let him ride in his chariot. Then he came to Samaria and killed all who remained to Ahab in Samaria, until he wiped them out according to the word of Yahweh that he had spoken to Elijah. Then Jehu assembled all of the people and said to them, "Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu will worship him greatly. So then, summon to me all the prophets of Baal, and all of his servants and his priests. No man should fail to come, for I have a great sacrifice for Baal." Anyone who fails to come shall not live." Now, Jehu was acting with cunning in order to destroy the servants of Baal. Then Jehu said, "Sanctify a solemn assembly for Baal." So they proclaimed it. Jehu sent word through all of Israel, and all of the servants of Baal came. There did not remain a man who did not come. They came to the house of Baal, so that the house of Baal was filled from wall to wall. He said to the one who was over the wardrobe, "Bring out clothing for all of the servants of Baal." So he brought the clothing out for them. Then Jehu and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, came to the temple of Baal, and he said to the servants of Baal, "Search and see that there is none of the servants of Yahweh here with you, only those who serve Baal." They came to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings. Now Jehu had stationed for himself 80 men outside, and he said, "The man who lets anyone escape from the men who I am entrusting to you, he will pay with his life." It happened that when he finished offering the burnt offering, Jehu said to the royal guard and to the officers, "Come and kill them. Let no man go free." So they put them to the sword, and the royal guard and the officers threw them out. Then they went up to the citadel of the temple of Baal. They brought out the stone pillars of the temple of Baal and burned them. So they broke down the stone pillars of Baal and destroyed the temple of Baal and made it into a latrine until this day. So Jehu wiped out Baal from Israel. Only Jehu did not turn aside from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, by which he caused Israel to sin, namely the calf-shaped idols of gold that were in Bethel and Dan. Yahweh said to Jehu, "Because you have done well by doing right in my eyes, and you have done to the house of Ahab according to all that was in my heart, therefore sons of the 4th generation will sit for you on the throne of Israel." But Jehu was not careful to walk in the law of Yahweh, God of Israel, with all his heart. He did not turn from the sins of Jeroboam, by which he caused Israel to sin. In those days Yahweh began to reduce Israel. So Hazael defeated them in every territory of Israel, from the Jordan eastward. All of the land of Gilead, the Gadites, the Reubenites, and the Manassites, from Aroer, which is on the Wadi Arnon, and Gilead, and Bashan. Now the remainder of the acts of Jehu, and all that he did, and all of his powerful deeds, are they not written in the scroll of the events of the days of the kings of Israel? So Jehu slept with his ancestors, and they buried him in Samaria, and Jehoahaz his son became king in his place. Now the days which Jehu had reigned over Israel were 28 years in Samaria. 2 Kings chapter 11. Now Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead. So she prepared to destroy all of the offspring of the royal family. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram and sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and she stole him from among the sons of the king who were being put to death, putting him and his nurse in the inner bedroom. So they hid him from the presence of Athaliah, and he was not killed. He remained with her in the temple of Yahweh, hidden for 6 years, while Athaliah was reigning over the land. But in the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and took the commanders of the hundreds of the Karites and the runners, and he brought them to himself to the temple of Yahweh. Then he made a covenant with them, and made them swear in the house of Yahweh, and showed them the son of the king. He commanded them, saying, "This is the thing that you must do. 1/3 of you who go off duty on the Sabbath, the keepers of the guard in the house of the king, and another third at the gate of Sur, and a third at the gate behind the runners, shall guard the post of the palace alternately. 2 of the units among you, all who go on duty on the Sabbath, guard the post of the temple of Yahweh for the king. You must surround the king all about, each with his weapon in his hand. Whoever comes to the ranks must be killed. Be with the king wherever he goes." So the commanders of hundreds did according to all that Jehoiada the priest commanded, and each took his men who went off duty on the Sabbath, and those who came on duty on the Sabbath, and they came to Jehoiada the priest. Then the priest gave to the commanders of the hundreds spears and small round shields which were King David's, which were in the temple of Yahweh. So the royal runners stood, each with his weapons in his hand, from the side of the temple to the south, up to the side of the temple on the north, around the altar and around the temple, about the king all around. Then he brought out the son of the king, put the crown on him with the testimony, and they made him king, anointed him, clapped their hands, and said, "Long live the king." When Athaliah heard the sound of the runners of the people, she came to the people at the temple of Yahweh. She looked, and there was the king standing by the pillar according to the custom. The commanders and trumpeters were by the king, and all of the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing on the trumpets. Athaliah tore her clothes, and she called, "Treason! Treason!" Then Jehoiada the priest commanded the commanders of the hundreds, the appointed of the army, and he said to them, "Bring her out to the house of the ranks. The one coming after her should kill her with the sword." For the priest had said, "Let her not be killed in the temple of Yahweh." So they grabbed her as she went by the entranceway of the horses to the palace of the king, and she was killed there. Then Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahweh and the king and the people, that the people should be as a people for Yahweh, and also a covenant between the king and the people. Then all the people of the land went to the temple of Baal and tore it down, and its altars and its images they broke completely into pieces. Matan, the priest of Baal, they killed in front of the altars. Then the priest put guards over the house of Yahweh. He took the commanders of the hundreds and the Kerites and the runners and all the people of the land, and they brought the king down from the temple of Yahweh. And they marched by way of the runner's gate to the palace of the king, and he sat on the throne of the kings. All the people of the land rejoiced, and the city rested, for Athaliah had been killed with the sword in the palace of the king. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign. The New Testament reading is from Acts chapter 24, from verse 1 through verse 27. Acts 24. And after 5 days, the high priest Ananias came down with some elders and an attorney, a certain Tertullus, all of whom brought charges against Paul to the governor. And when he had been summoned, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, "We have experienced much peace through you, and reforms are taking place in this nation through your foresight. Both in every way and everywhere we acknowledge this most excellent Felix with all gratitude. But so that I may not impose on you for longer, I implore you to hear us briefly with your customary graciousness. For we have found this man to be a public menace, and one who causes riots among all the Jews throughout the Roman Empire, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes, who even attempted to desecrate the temple, and we arrested him. When you yourself examine him, you will be able to find out from him about all these things of which we are accusing him. And the Jews also joined in the attack, asserting these things were so. And when the governor gestured for him to speak, Paul replied, "Because I know you have been a judge over this nation for many years, I defend myself cheerfully with respect to the things concerning myself. You can ascertain that it has not been more than 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem to worship. And neither did they find me arguing with anyone or making a crowd develop in the temple courts, nor in the synagogues, nor throughout the city. Nor can they prove the things to you concerning which they are now accusing me. But I do confess this to you, that according to the way, which they call a sect, so I worship the God of our fathers, believing all things that are in accordance with the law and that are written in the prophets, having a hope in God which these men also themselves await, that there is going to be a resurrection of both the righteous and the unrighteous. For this reason, also I myself always do my best to have a clear conscience toward God and people. So after many years I came to practice charitable giving and offerings to my people, in which they found me purified in the temple courts, not with a crowd or with a disturbance. But there are some Jews from Asia who ought to be present before you and bring charges against me if they have anything against me. Or these men themselves should say what crime they found when I stood before the Sanhedrin, other than concerning this one declaration that I shouted while standing before them. I am being judged before you today concerning the resurrection of the dead." But Felix, because he understood the facts concerning the way more accurately, put them off, saying, "When Lysias the military tribune comes down, I will decide your case." He ordered the centurion for him to be guarded and to have some freedom, and in no way to prevent any of his own people from serving him. And after some days, when Felix arrived with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, he sent for Paul and listened to him concerning faith in Christ Jesus. And while he was discussing about righteousness and self-control and the judgment that is to come, Felix became afraid and replied, "Go away for the present, and when I have an opportunity I will summon you." At the same time, he was also hoping that money would be given to him by Paul. For this reason also he sent for him as often as possible and talked with him. And when 2 years had passed, Felix received as successor Porcius Festus. And because he wanted to do a favor for the Jews, Felix left Paul behind as a prisoner. The wisdom literature reading is from Psalm 80, beginning at verse 8 through verse 19. Psalm 80, verse 8. You uprooted a vine from Egypt. You drove out the nations and planted it. You prepared a place before it, and it took deep root and filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shade, and the mighty cedars with its boughs. It spread its branches to the sea and its shoots to the river. Why have you broken down its walls so that all who pass on the road pluck fruit from it? Swine from the forest devour it, and creatures of the field feed on it. Please return, O God of hosts, observe from heaven and see, and pay attention to this vine, even the stalk that your right hand planted, and concerning the shoot you strengthened for yourself. It is burned with fire, cut down. They perish at the rebuke of your face. Let your hand be on the man of your right hand, on the son of humankind whom you made strong for yourself. Then we will not turn back from you. Restore us to life, and we will proclaim your name. O Yahweh, God of hosts, restore us. Cause your face to shine, that we may be saved. This concludes the reading for day 186. Thank you for listening. These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the global outreach ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.